Good morning. I am the Reverend Barbara Gaydon, and I'm honored to serve this congregation as your lead minister. I'm so pleased to welcome all of you, those watching from home and those who have come here to our chapel today. We are one community, united, more together than apart. If you're visiting for the first time, a special welcome to you. We are so glad that you chose to be with us today. I hope that you feel warmly welcomed and that today's message speaks to you. If you're here in person, please fill out the guest card on the way out so that we can stay in touch with you. If you're at home, drop a line to welcome@eliotchapel.org and let us know that you're here. This is a liberal religious community of spiritual seekers. We welcome you in all the fullness of your age, race, ethnicity, gender expression, sexual orientation, and religious background. Our faith is not lived in creeds, but in deeds, not in the hereafter, but the here and now. Our core values are freedom, reason, respect, and love. And just a quick reminder about our COVID protocols. Masks need to be worn at all times and properly above the nose, below the chin, whether you're inside or outside. We have masks if you need one. And if you're 12 and up, you must be fully vaccinated in order to come to worship. There's no eating or drinking in the building, so we are not tempted to take off our masks. Our social hour takes place outside after the service, and I've seen a few people milling around here. That's perfectly welcome. We're so glad to have you. Let there be joy in our coming together this morning. Let there be truth heard in the words that we speak and the songs that we sing. Let there be help and healing from our disharmony and despair. Let there be silence for the voice within us and beyond us. Let there be joy in our coming together. Come, let us worship. And we light our chalice, gathering around a bowl of light, a flame by which to not only see, but to imagine. May it lift and inspire us as a community today. Please join me in singing our opening hymn, number 236, O Thou Joyful Day. The words are on the back of your order of service. Please rise in body or in spirit. I invite Dick Gordon to come forward and lead us in our congregational covenant.
Good morning. I am Dick Gordon. I've been coming to Eliot Chapel since 2011. For those of you who are just learning about Eliot Chapel, this covenant that we're about to read gives you a window into how we think and who we try to be. So let's read this with conviction. As a free congregation, we promise to one another our mutual trust and support. To create beloved community, we promise to be kinder to each other than we have to be. To listen fully to each other with an open mind and heart. To speak responsibly and respectfully. To find ways to improve our church for all members and friends.
I would invite our circle casters to come forward. We are coming upon a very, very special day, Yule, or Winter Solstice. It is the longest night and the shortest day of the year. And at Winter Solstice, we celebrate that the light is returning. This holiday goes all the way back to ancient times in Europe, before the Roman occupation, before the Christianization of Europe. In those ancient days, those people, there were no meteorologists, there were no astronomers. They didn't understand the science of the sun going away. All they knew is that the leaves fell from the trees, the world became covered in snow, and the light kept going away day by day. So it was a time of emptying. It was a time of somberness. It was a time of waiting. And while they waited, especially as they drew nearer to winter solstice, they would start gathering up all the greenery they could. The only thing that's green in a northern climate are coniferous trees. So they made garland, and they hung holly because it was red. And they decorated Christmas trees. That's where Christmas trees come from. They come from the pagan tradition in Europe. And then they would gather around the fire, and they would spend the whole night in front of the fire waiting for the return of the sun, at which time they would erupt in joy. Paganism came into Unitarian Universalism in the 60s and 70s and up into the 80s. And the reason that it came into our congregations is because of our women. Unitarian Universalist women were core organizers in second wave feminism, and they were looking for a way to bring a maternal, feminine, spiritual feeling into our congregations, and something that was pre-Christian. This was a way of reclaiming a pre-Christian European way of being. So women brought paganism into our congregations, and we've been observing the earth-centered traditions ever since then, and so we have you women to thank for that. Now, in pagan celebrations, you always start your ritual by calling in the four directions. The four directions are core. They are your anchor. And we're going to call in the four directions this morning. If you're not familiar with this or you're uncomfortable with doing this ritual, you're welcome to stay seated. After I teach you the song, I'll invite those of you who wish to stand up to join us, and we will turn to each direction, and then one of our circle casters will call in that spirit, and then we'll sing to that spirit. So here is the song. It's very, very simple. You will learn it like this. This is how it goes. We'll use the north, which is earth. I'll sing it once, and then you join with me. Spirit of the earth, carry me. Spirit of the earth, carry me home. Spirit of the earth, carry me home to myself. Spirit of the earth, carry me. Spirit of the earth, carry me home. Spirit of the earth, carry me home to myself. Wonderful. Please rise as you're willing and able, and let us face the east.
Spirit of the east, spirit of air, of morning and springtime, be with us as the sun rises, in times of beginning, times of planting. Inspire us with the fresh breath of courage as we go forth into new adventures.
And to the south, Spirit of the south, Spirit of fire, of noontime and summer, be with us through the heat of the day and help us to be ever growing. Warm us with strength and energy for the work that awaits us. Spirit of
Spirit of west, spirit of water, of evening and autumn, be with us as the sun sets and help us to enjoy a rich harvest. Flow through us with a cooling, healing quietness and bring us peace.
And face north. Spirit of the north, spirit of earth, of nighttime and winter, be with us in the darkness, in the time of gestation. Ground us in the wisdom of the changing seasons as we celebrate the spiraling journey of our lives.
Spirit of the east, spirit of the south, spirit of the west, spirit of the north, welcome to this space. We are blessed by your presence. The circle is cast. Let's please be seated.
I invite you now into a time of prayer and meditation. If you wish to, you may plant your feet flat on the floor, straighten your spine, close your eyes, and follow your breath. We pause as the path of the sun reverses and seems to be holding its place for a moment of turning. Let us delve into the gifts of darkness at the winter solstice. We follow curiosity and contemplation down into the cold earth, taking a journey to the world below the surface. Here we find seeds, including some that will not sprout unless they first wait through the cold. Life finds rest and renewal in the darkness. May those who are weary find comfort. May those who are struggling find meaning and companionship. May those who are injured or ill find recovery. May those who hunger find abundance. Let this be a time of healing. And may the dreams of the dark lead us to share these gifts with one another. Let this be a time of celebration. What joy can be found, let us hold it close, blow on its embers, and share its spark. We do not take for granted having come this far, and we give thanks for our companions on the journey. Let us now dwell together in silent meditation and prayer. Into this shared silence, you may speak the name of any you wish to hold up for the love and prayers of this gathered community. Jeff Hogue, Steve Hogue. These and all good souls who could not be named, we hold in our hearts. Amen. Our offering today is going to be shared, as it has been all month, with the Room at the Inn. Room at the Inn is a beloved organization that has housed people who have not had homes overnight in churches for many years. Eliot has partnered with them. And this, during the pandemic, instead of being at churches, they are being housed and sheltered in a central place, which is actually nicer for them not to have to go all over the place each night. But Eliot, even though we are not offering our building, we still have the opportunity to support Room at the Inn through our financial gifts. Let us be generous with our offering. Oh, and one word about the offertory you're going to hear. If you want to follow along on the words, they're on the back of your order of service. Will the ushers please come forward with the offering? And please say with me, everyone, the words of dedication in your order of service. To the work of the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives, and these are offerings. Thank you.
Good morning, beloved community. We are UU Vision TV, coming to you live from the headquarters of the Unitarian Universalist Association in Boston, Massachusetts. And our mission is to serve you, the amazing congregations, helping us all to lead lives of justice, learning, love, and hope. Let's give it up for our inspiring host, the well-loved, super kind, sometimes childish, and often annoying, Ellen DeUnitarius.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We've got a great show for you today. It's Yule, or Winter Solstice, the shortest day and the longest night of the year, a high point for Earth-centered people, at least if you live in the Northern Hemisphere. If you live in the Southern Hemisphere, it's hotter than blazes. You're wearing your Santa swimsuit, sitting by the ocean, sipping frozen drinks. But here, it's the land of shadow. Long, chilly nights, getting cozy by the fire, sipping hot chocolate, kissing under mistletoe, hanging garland. This is a pagan day. Pagan having come to mean a catch-all phrase for all the tribal religions that were supposedly earth-centered and matriarchal before the Roman Empire came along and messed it all up. Which reminds me of a joke. How many pagans does it take to change a light bulb? 151. 1 to change the light bulb, 100 to prepare an environmental impact statement, and the rest to do a self-criticism afterwards. Kind of like Unitarian Universalists. But enough of the foolishness. We've got 4 great guests for you. In the spirit of paganism, we have guests representing the East, the South, the West, and the North. Our first guest is often found on the eastern shores covering the latest hurricane. He's an institution, a famous meteorologist from the Weather Channel. Give it up for Jim Cantori.
This is it, folks. We're in the outer wall of a Cat 5 hurricane with wind speeds picking up to 130 miles an hour. If I wasn't holding on to this railing, I'd be blown away. It's too late to evacuate, so hunker down, everybody. Try to be safe.
Jim, we're not in a hurricane. This is a TV studio. This is your audience. You are fine. You've taken cover. All is good.
Oh, gosh, what a relief. Well, sorry, folks, you can relax. Everyone's fine. Everyone's going to be good.
And so are you. Have a seat. Have a seat. Oh, Jim. So you've been at the Weather Channel a long time since graduating college. Maybe you've been there too long, if you catch my drift. You've been called the rock star of meteorologists, which is quite an honor. So let me ask you this. Whatever compelled you to become the guy who stands outdoors in bad storms and gets hammered by the wind?
Interesting you should ask that.
You know how people speak with that reverent tone about standing under the night sky and looking at the stars and feeling like they're a part of the universe? Do you?
Yep.
That wasn't me. It was boring. Ugh. As a kid, I'd stand in the front lawn and I'd watch the storm come in until my mama said, "Jim, come on in here. Why are you always determined to break my heart?" Boy, she'd get mad.
I bet she did. If I was your mother, I'd be furious with you, probably even more than her.
Good thing you're not my mother.
Indeed it is. So, what was going on with you when you were standing in the path of a storm?
There was something about the energy, the smell, the air, the rolling sky, the clouds, so many colors, and the crack of lightning, and then the whoosh of the storm when it finally arrived, and the trees bending in the wind, and the rain came pouring down. There's nothing like it. That is pure joy for me.
Down, Jim. Down, down. Come on, have a seat. Settle down. Can't be having too much joy here.
Ellen, do you have trouble with joy? Do you have trouble with people who embody joy?
Let's get back on track. So I get it. You get a lot of joy from these dramatic moments, but what makes me curious is that most of the storms you cover are putting the lives of people at risk. Many are going to lose everything. Some have said that you make these bad storms into entertainment, which devalues the suffering of those communities. And the strength of these storms is getting worse, and you're not saying anything about that. There's going to be more loss and more devastation. Where is the joy in that?
That's a hard question, Ellen, but a good question. One of my favorite people is Ross Gay, who's a former football player. When asked, how can we be joyful in a moment like this, he's thought, how can we not be joyful, especially in a moment like this? Train your gaze to see what's terrible, but also to see what's wonderful and what's beautiful. There is beauty and terror all wrapped up together in a storm. Storms renew life and they destroy life. There's no doubt that we've got ourselves into a real mess with climate change, and it's going to get worse. And still the earth is having its say with these big storms. Watching a storm forming is like watching poetry fall into place. The joy isn't just the moment when I get there and feel it on my body, although it is a rush, but it's the whole process, which also includes the human response. I'm there for the people who are hunkered down, hoping they're going to make it. And yeah, the big storms are going to change people's lives, but that's all a part of the feeling in a storm. This awestruck feeling, like we're all connected, from the smallest puff of air to a jam-packed interstate of everyone trying to get out of the storm's path. This overwhelming, awestruck feeling that we're in the earth and it's in us. It's when I feel most alive. It's when I feel a real joy, not a cheap joy, but a deep, connected, sustained joy.
So what I'm hearing from you, Jim, is that your joy comes from this awestruck feeling of total interconnection, that everything is all bound up together.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Well, Jim, that's a lot to think about. It's been an honor having you with us. Thanks for being here. Keep on doing the good work. Jim Cantore, give it up for Jim.
Thank you, Ellen.
Our next guest is a gutsy Southern woman with the voice of a sparrow. She is loved by many, has been ridiculed by many, but she is always the last woman standing. Let's give a warm welcome to Dolly Parton. Have a seat, Dolly. Have a seat. Dolly, Dolly, Dolly. I have dreamed of this day. I have a question I have been dying to ask you. What is it like to be the #1 pick of drag queens around the world?
Oh, sweetie pie, I was warned about you. But I tell you, it's completely and totally an honor to be chosen as a woman worthy of imitating. Honestly, every one of those queens is my family. And I just want to hug them all close because I'm so proud of their courage, their perseverance. When I see a drag queen strutting her stuff, looking like me, I think to myself, wow, that girl's on fire. It's also very comforting to know there are other women who are willing to spend a heap of money to look this cheap.
So this is what I've always wondered about you. Every time I see you, you're so happy. When you sing, you're smiling. When you're in a movie or an interview like this, you're smiling. Are you really always annoyingly happy, or is this an act? Because if you're happy like you're blonde, then you're not really happy, are you?
Oh, honey, you are the last person I thought would ever ask me a kind of question like that. Well, even though it is a patronizing question, almost in the same category as my interview with Barbara Walters in 1977. Yeah. Ellen, I'm going to put you in your place. No, I'm not always happy. Ask my husband, ask my kids, ask my band. Just like you and everyone else here, I've had loss, I've had hardship, I've had heartbreak, misunderstandings, and as a woman, I had to fight twice as hard to get where I am. But for being in this world, I want to have the whole reason is to lift my voice. When I sing, I really am joyful. I get joyful. Singing has been my home since I was born.
That's great. But you've done thousands of concerts, just sung the same songs over and over. Don't you get tired and just want to take that song and say, take that song and shove it?
You really are having trouble with this joy thing, aren't you? You poor baby. Truthfully, I do get tired of the old songs in moments. But this life is what I fought for when everyone wrote me off, said I was dumb, said I was ridiculous, should stay home and raise my babies. But those old songs, they are my dearest friends. They have carried me all my life. They have fed and housed my children. And now those old songs are helping children read, families put food on their table. Those songs have brought joy to so many. And when I sing them, if I don't feel joyful when I start, I sure get there by the end. Well, you've asked if my smiles are real. Again, quite patronizing, but I will humor you. This is what I've learned about smiling. Smiling makes you happy. Happiness brings you to joy. It begins in the body, moves into the mind, and lodges in the heart. I invite you all to try it sometime. When you're doing the normal stuff of your life, start smiling. It'll feel odd at first, but the longer you smile, the more you actually leap from happiness to joy. And ultimately, I begin to feel connected to everything and everyone. My fans, my band, my family, and all those I have come to love.
Interesting. That's what Jim Cantori said, that through joy he feels connected to everything. What do you make of that?
Well, I'd say that deep down, Jim and I are both queens. He wears a flashy raincoat, and I wear a flashy wig and sequins. We are both big, sparkling personalities choosing joy.
Ellen, Dolly, it's been a pleasure. Keep doing what you're doing. You are fabulous. Give it up for Dolly Parton. Our next guest is a sad but sweet character who has found joy even though he is basically obsolete. Give a warm welcome to Willie of the Wild West. Have a seat, Willie.
Howdy, ma'am.
So glad you could join us. It must have been quite a journey coming back from obscurity.
It sure was. In the heyday of cowboy times, everyone wanted to be me. I had the handsome horse. I rarely lost a head of cattle to the coyote. I never had to change the look in my eyes or the inflection of my voice to get my meaning across, because I was the quintessential self-controlled man. I cooked savory beans over an open fire, slept in a tent on the mountainside, and held my whiskey like a man. You could say I put John Wayne to shame.
That is quite an accomplishment. But did you have joy?
Well, absolutely. Every day was an adventure. I was truly at home.
But then what happened?
Well, first thing that happened is that I started finding the ladies didn't want men anymore who didn't show emotion. Smile, they'd say. Show your feelings, they'd say. I want to know what you're thinking. Cowboys don't smile, they smirk. We don't share our feelings, we bottle them all up inside, and when it gets to be too much, we go pick a fight at a bar and lose a few more teeth. I never had to think about my thoughts. Then PETA started in on us about how we treat our cattle and our horses. And the Sierra Club says we was desecrating the landscape. And the suburbs of Los Angeles took all our water for their lawns. But worst of all, people started going vegetarian and vegan. What am I supposed to do? Round up soybeans in Iowa?
Gosh darn it, Willie. If we didn't have to social distance, I'd be hugging you right now.
That'd make it worse. Cowboys don't hug.
All right, so basically you went obsolete. Now, when a computer becomes obsolete, we throw it away. What do we do with humans? What did you do, Willie?
Well, I'm going to tell you a secret. I meditate.
What? Can't hear you, Willie.
I meditate.
Willie, use your words. Use your words.
Meditate! After I pastured my horse and stowed my camping gear and swallowed my last slug of whiskey, I took some advice from a hippie hiker I met while I was riding the trails in Colorado. I went to Missouri to this Midwest Unitarian Universalist Summer Assembly. It changed my life. There was a group that meditated every day when the sun come up, and first I felt kind of stupid, sitting in a circle with all them vegetarians. But I came to like it, and when Musa was over, I kept at it.
What happened then?
Well, I'm going to use the words of Wendell Berry, author and environmentalist. There were the elemental pleasures of eating and drinking and resting, of being dry while it's raining, of getting dry after getting wet, of getting warm again after getting cold, of cooling off after getting hot. There was pleasure to be taken in good work animals. There was certain pleasures in the work itself. There was pleasure in hunting and going to town and in visiting and in having company. There was pleasure in observing and remembering the behavior of things and in telling about it.
So the big question is, did you find joy?
Well, one day I went to visit that Hampson horse of mine and rolled out my old sleeping bag in the pasture and sat down to meditate. And I felt the sun on my face and the wind in my thinning hair and the smell of the manure, the horse manure, and it was like
Let me guess. You felt connected to everything.
I did. And then a joy erupted in me, and the dry emptiness of being a cowboy was filled with a long, cool drink of water.
Wow, that is quite a story. Thanks for being here, Willie. It's been great having you. Give it up for Willie of the Wild West. So, folks, are you seeing how this is playing out? So far, it's 3 for 3. Apparently, joy happens when we have the experience of being connected to everything. Let's see what our fourth guest has to say. She's from small town Minnesota. Like almost everyone from that part of the country, she started skating before she could walk. But she didn't choose figure skating, she chose hockey. She is now the #1 hockey player in her league, and she is known as the biggest, baddest female hockey player in America. Give it up for Ellie.
Yeah!
Ellie, why don't you have a seat? Have a seat.
Oh, yeah.
It's great to have you on the show, Ellie.
Yeah.
It looks like you've got a lot of joy just sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything you can say besides, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, then let's see if we can do that, okay?
Yeah.
Good. All right, so you play hockey. You probably get a lot of joy playing hockey. What gives you joy about hockey?
Well, I get joy from hockey because, oh, Ellen, I've just got to say this. I can't believe I'm sitting here next to you. I watch your show between hockey practices. I love the way you dance, and I love your understated manner and your understated demeanor. And I love the color of your suit jackets. Oh, I wish I could be you. It's almost too much sitting here. Ellen, you're the bomb.
Wow. Well, thank you. I'm really honored. Thank you for telling me that. It looks like you are having a lot of joy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's not start that with the yas again. Come on, sit down.
Yeah.
Let's try this again, Ellie. What gives you joy about hockey?
Oh, all right. I love hockey because of how my blades feel on the ice. Because of what it feels like being so focused, you know exactly where your teammates are. It's like you're breathing together, and you're playing out formations that you've done in practice like a million times. It's like a painting that suddenly comes to life. When the crowd roars, you want to roar back. You're skating so fast, it feels like everything is possible. It's like every nerve in your body is at the end of your hockey stick. And I can't believe all you want to talk about is the joy that isn't happening right now. Oh, sure, I can tell you all about hockey, just like I do with every other talk show host. All they want to know is, how does it feel to be a girl playing hockey? But hockey's a joy that's not happening right now. And the joy that's happening right now is that I'm here on your show. Can't you just let me live in the moment? Joy like this doesn't happen every day. You have to savor it. You have to hold it up and just be in it. Yeah!
Either something really great's happening here and I am just missing it, or this interview is crashing and burning. So, let's get back to hockey. Sit down. Come on, Ellie. Sit down.
Insist.
Might you be able to be in the joy you're feeling now and tell me about the joy you feel playing hockey?
So, the thing about hockey is that you have to be fully in the moment. You can't think about what just happened in the last play or worry about what's going to happen 5 minutes from now. You have to be fully aware of what's happening around you in that moment. At most, you're thinking, 30 seconds ahead, because that's about how long a play takes. You're watching your teammates, you're watching your opponents, watching the puck, thinking so fast and moving your body that same speed as that thinking. It's so intense and so beautiful, but it's also mindful, because to be fully in the moment, nothing else can crowd into your mind. And even if we're behind, even if the game isn't going like you want to, just focus on the ice, your body, your breathing, your formation. That intensity is joy. And really, you get to a point where you...
Let me guess. You feel connected to everything.
Yeah!
Well, thanks for being here, Ellie. It's been great having you on the show.
Oh, no. You're not cutting into my joy one more time. You know what I want more than anything else?
What?
To dance to your theme song with you like you do with your other guests.
Well, I guess to be in the moment. Thank you so much, Ellie, Willie, Dolly, Jim. It's been wonderful having you on the show. Thanks for teaching us to be in the moment, to say yes to the joy that is right in front of us. Thank you.
Yeah!
So what do you think, folks? We've got 4 different paths to joy here. And I'm curious to know, which one speaks to you most? If it was Jim Cantori who finds joy through the power of nature, give us a holler. What about Dolly Parton, who finds joy singing her heart out? Then there's Willie of the Wild West, who finds joy through going inside and centering. And then Ellie, who apparently finds joy in being with me. And all of them got to the point where they experienced joy because they felt connected to everything. You know, those pagans way back in the day who made up this winter solstice thing, they had something going on. The days getting shorter was a way bigger deal for them than it is for us. There were no meteorologists to explain this. They didn't have the electricity to fill their homes, didn't have heat. What they had was each other. And they had their stories about the gods going into hiding as the nights got longer and coming back to them when the sun came back. And on the night of winter solstice, they would hang out together around the fire, kind of like we're hanging out here. They'd tell stories, they'd sing, and they'd wait. And they really did experience a profound joy when the sun came back because it meant they got through it. And we're getting through it too. There's a lot to be worried about in our time. And sometimes it feels like the gods are hiding from us. We come here in community to remember that we are not alone. And the sun does come back in all kinds of ways. So in this season of cheer, in this solstice season, may it be bright and bring you many joys and happiness. Thanks for coming to the show tonight.
Well, the shyest people in the church. Thank you so much. And in that spirit, let us find a little joy ourselves. Let's sing together, O Christmas Tree. The words are in your order of service. Please rise as you're willing and able. Please remain standing for the closing words. Now may the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us now and always. Amen. You may be seated. Go in peace and joy.